Mark James.
And my name is Julian Comedio, and we are Jackpot Automations, securely automating your finances.
Alrighty, so meet the team. Like I said, I'm Mark James. I'm a senior here at UTSA. I study computer engineering as well as robotics engineering. And some experience I've had is I've done an internship with American Express as a DevOps engineer. So,
Yeah, so as I said, my name is Julian Comedio. I'm the CFO, Mark is the CTO. And I guess some experience I have that relates to what we're doing is I'm currently doing a co-op at Collins Aerospace where I'm a project manager. So yeah. And we have two other team members, Abdul as well as Roshan, who are not here today. You guys will meet them later.
alrighty, so our purpose, our goal is to automate and educate the customer to excel financially and provide a better, faster way to observe your spending. We'll go more in depth on what we mean by this in the future slides. Oh, cool.
All right, so our problem is that a lot of people are unaware of where their money is going. It takes a long time to budget and track expenses and whatnot, and a lot of people aren't as financially literate as they should be.
All right, so how do we solve that? We got our solutions over here. What our product does, we wanted to give recommendations based on your purchases, automate tracking of expenses and budgeting finances, and educate the user on necessary financial topics, which I'll explain more. Go to the next one. So, what is our product and how does it work? We want to create a mobile iOS application using machine learning that'll. What the vision for it is, we want it to be like a digital entity. If anybody's played Halo in here, Cortana. We want you to have like a little Cortana in your pocket at all times that you can go and talk to for whatever financial advice you may need. So, like we said, literacy, right? We want to have videos on there if you want to understand money, understand how you can make the money work for you, as well as, how to keep more in your pocket as well. Then we have our recommendations, right? So that's our hook. We feel like our recommendation system, we want you to be able to really go in depth and see your spending habits, daily, monthly, weekly, really get the average, recommendations such as, maybe when you go to the club that one weekend, instead of driving there and paying that $20, $30 for parking, maybe take an Uber this time, it save you $10, $20, you never know. So, and as well as rewards, right? So we want to have some type of hook to keep people coming back, because if it's just an application saying, you're horrible at spending money, it's not that really, it's not really that fun, but if we can say, okay, you earn points based on if, you spend below your average for that day or that week or that month, then eventually, you'll earn rewards. So maybe 10% off at Walmart or one of your favorite restaurants or food places, anywhere like that. So, yeah, we can go to the next one.
Yeah, so why now? So the reason we want to do it right now is because there will likely be a global recession coming soon, and we want people to be prepared for that, right? Facts show that financial literacy is at an all-time low. Around 75% of Americans don't know how to properly budget, and we want to fix that, right? So our business model, some things we want to do is advertise. We want to offer a pro version subscription, and we want to have affiliate programs, right? So the market size of financial apps in general is $200 million, so it's a medium-sized market. With advertisement, we want to go into things like marketing through social media as well as LinkedIn, right? Word of mouth, as well as sell merchandise, right? You want your business to have, multiple ways of income, not just one specific one. Our pro version, we're going to offer a lot more things, where our users can get more experience throughout the app, whereas the free version, will offer the basics for everybody, right? Then we have our affiliate programs, like Mark said. Let's say you use Uber a lot, you use it on the weekends, you want to have like maybe a 10% return on that at some point, that would be something great to help people.
5 minutes.
Questions? Yes,
So
sir.
I got a few, I'll make them quick. Great pitch. My head immediately went to like what the product exactly looks like and how it's gonna look. Reason being is I think when you're talking about dealing with people's financials, first thing I think about is security, like how y'all are running it. Are y'all familiar with Plaid?
Yes.
Plaid
Yes.
is-
Exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, that's kind of the thought process I had. If y'all didn't know about Plaid, want to make sure y'all knew about that, but a little bit more storytelling on that, how y'all plan on building it. And then also too, I thought of like Mint, Personal Capital, Monarch,
Yes,
like what makes you unique. So obviously like first thought is gonna be like, there's a ton of competition, like what really makes y'all stand out?
Yes, sir. Oh, my bad.
Oh, it's just feedback, but yeah, you can answer that question.
Okay, sorry. So yeah, we didn't really get to the slide, but that's all right. I'll still answer your question. So we have a couple of places like Mint.com, Credit Karma, Rocket.
Yeah, Rocket Money, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So those apps are really the main competition, but we want to focus on where they're failing at, right? A lot of those apps have a little bit of user experience, user interface downfall. You know, they're not really geared towards people who want to be on apps like that, right? A lot of people in our generation, or a lot of people in today's time, have low attention spans, and user experience is something that really solves that very easily, which is where we want to focus at, right? As far as security, that is one of our main focuses as well. We are trying to focus on developing API if we don't use one, right? So Plaid is definitely one of the ones we're looking at, and we want to have our data very secure, right? We want to keep data internal.
So, aside from the competition issue, right now, I can log into my credit card website, and it does basically budgeting for me. If I ask it to, it'll actually give me recommendations. It'll show me a pie chart. It basically tells me how I'm spending, right? And my bank does the same thing. So there's already a lot of apps that do kind of what you're talking about. One of the unique things you said in here was that you were going to use machine learning to generate recommendations.
Yes, sir.
The problem with machine learning is that you're gonna have to have access to a lot of data from credit card companies, banks, things like that. Are they gonna give them to you?
That's gonna be it. So
They're not, because they're using that data. They recognize that that data is a gold mine. Why would they give it to you when they can use it themselves?
True. Well, so why they would give it to us is that's just another aspect that we can handle for them, right? So where you have a business, like banking, they want to focus on more so the banking, right? They can't branch off into too many places because, they'll lose value in one place, whereas they can add value in another, right? And if they're focused on too many things at the same time without help, that will put the company not as a downfall, as to where they could be much better off if they receive help from us.
So, but that's a statement without any data behind it, right? Most credit card companies are already doing this already, so it's not like they're looking for somebody to help them.
Yeah.
So are banks, so are a lot of other folks.
Right, but as well, most of them that we've seen, they'll give you like an overall summary, but they don't really go in depth at all. Like day by day, week by week. It's more so like over a year to 6 months span, 3 months, or like there's credit card companies that'll send you a statement after each month, but it's not really. They don't detail it. They don't categorize it at all. But like you said, there are companies that do the pie charts and things like that, but it's not as detailed as what we're trying to do.
Yes, and then also to add on that, the learning experience as well, right? Your banks don't really teach you the average person on learning financials, right? They may, basic budgeting is what they'll teach people, but they won't go into detail like, let's say, hey, you have extra money in your account at the end of the month, you may want to do something with that money to make it work for you, right? And that's where we want to come in, right? Put that money into investments, maybe save up for something that you want to, do in the future, right? So that's where banks fall short, where we come in and we fix that problem as well.
Much fun. So I think one, you're going into a bit of a crowded space, right?
Yes,
But as somebody who is terrible with money myself, I think the recommendations is a niche market. But I think the story, this is feedback on. I think you got the right focus on what you want to do, but I think you're pretty broad on what you talk about, right? Like when you're building the company, it's 0 to 1. 0 to 1 is the real thing, right? How do you get from 0 to 1? You just figure out in the iOS app, what problem are you trying to solve? What is everybody not doing, right? And I have Rocket Money and Mint and Credit Karma, and still, you know, it's like, but I still spend money, right? So I think you'll have a good focus on it, but I think you really need to tighten up your story into what it is specifically trying to do, right? And if you know, we talked about the AI, right? If that's not, like, what does that look like? Because you're gonna get these questions, right? What does
Yes,
AI,
sir. Definitely.
what does AI look like? So spend more time on kind of tightening up your story a little bit, because it kind of went long. We didn't get through the whole entire thing. So tightened up specifically. What are you focusing on? And that's okay, right? Like you can have it all in your head about where you think the suite of systems could be, or suite of tools can be, but this is where you need to focus, right? 0 to 1 is the most important point, and I think when you're going through the pitch deck, specifically, you need to spend time on that 0 to 1 instead of like, here's everything we look at doing. Like that's not what people invest in or believe in. It's what are you going to do to start with, and how do you get your first dollar, right? That's where it says focus on that.
Gotcha.
It's good.
From my perspective, it was, just quick feedback on me is that people are terrified of looking at their finances. That's the first thing that I noted, but then you talked about gamifying that. You talked about how there's an incentive for you to look at your finances because you'll get some type of credit. That for me was a sweet spot. We saw exercise companies doing this as well to incentivize if you go to the gym, if you did. So I would spend some time looking to see how effective that was. If more people ended up going to the gyms when it was gamified.
Okay. Cool. Gotcha.
Thank you so much for y'all's advice and answers.